Welcome, everybody, to Stay Curious. I'm your host, Mark Marquette. So glad that you joined us today, October 21st, 2025. Beautiful day in Central Florida as we're broadcasting live from the American Space Museum Stay Curious Studios in downtown Titusville, Florida. That's about 50 miles as the crow flies over to the attractions, as they call them, in Orlando. About 30 miles from Cocoa Beach, and we're probably 15 miles, about 10 miles, 12 miles, Marty, from Kennedy Space Center directly to the east. I'm referring to Marty Winkle, my co-producer, who worked on the lunar module for Grumman in the 1960s, and then he worked on the shuttle engines as a computer manager for the launch process system there. Right, Marty? Close, huh?
Close. Launch processing systems. LPS.
There we go. Very good. Well, we've got a program for you today to talk about basically who's in space, who's orbiting Earth right now, when they coming back, what's going on. So, so we're going to get into that. How many people you think are orbiting Earth right now? What's your guess? Place it in there. I'm getting my smart tablet up. Marty's got his he's up there to see who's today watching our program, and kind of threw a program together like I do sometimes at the last minute because I only had 3 meetings to attend this morning up till 2 o'clock today. And I'm involved with some community boards and committees, and very grateful for that, as it's all about representing the American Space Museum in our community. And Marty Winkle, my co-producer, is on our board of directors here, and we have a meeting with the board tomorrow, Wednesday. And that's always a good time, as Gabriel Rothblatt, the executive director over our nonprofit U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation, and myself, director of this beautiful space museum, have a lot to report these days to our board, a lot going on. So let's just kick it off, Marty, with our skeleton crew here. After all, it is holiday time, and we'll let you know we get into the spirit of it here. No matter, this reminds some of you space workers maybe out there of some of the slow pace that was taken going on at the time. And it is kind of a slow pace going on, Marty, as I put that up. Gee, is this a crew waiting to be launched by Artemis? Ha ha ha. Artemis definitely in the news, and we're going to take that on some tomorrow as NASA opens competition for Artemis 3 lunar lander. This is big news that's hitting right now, as the acting director of NASA, man named Duffy, who's the transportation secretary, has publicly said now SpaceX is way behind on their Starship to use as the lunar lander for Artemis 3, before it projected to be in the 2029 time frame, and that they are opening this baby up for bids for a lunar lander. Now, this is big news, okay? This is a huge restructuring of the Artemis return to the moon program. And NASA acting director Duffy said these words that I've not heard any other government politician openly say. That is, we have to beat China on the return to the moon. This is big news, and I'm going to keep my eye on it and share it with you all, because first we beat the Russians to the moon. Now we have to beat China on the return to the moon, as China's proclaimed they're going to land on the moon by 2030. A lot of insiders are saying that could happen as soon as the last quarter of 2028, or maybe sometime in 2029, as the Chinese are very ambitious with their program, and they're doing some things on their Tiangong space station that you might call more reconnaissance and military things than science. So we'll keep you abreast of that, but it's huge news that NASA is opening up a competition for the next moon lander, and they don't think it can be the Starship of Elon Musk's. Marty, how long would it take the Grumman to build the lunar module now? Was it about 3 years? What was the time frame on that?
I think the first contract was issued in '63, so it really took about 7 years.
Okay, so it's a huge development. However, Blue Origin has their Blue Moon, kind of a lunar module on steroids, that they've actually built a complete model of it, I understand, that they may test and try to send to the moon unmanned. And of course, you got to send something unmanned. You're not going to send it crewed to the moon anymore like that. So this is huge. So we look forward to that. And we want to let you know that we are involved in STEAM education, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And Natalia Sepulveda and I met today to look at our budget for the rest of the year and next year to provide a quality education program of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math for elementary school kids. Our next program is going to be November 8th. Being thankful for space spin-offs at home. And then October 13th, robots in space will be featured. And we sign up for that on our website, and we limit it to 15 students, and it is free. So if you're local, please tell your friends to take part of this with their kids. And we're going to be active with the Brevard Astronomical Society at a stargaze November 15th. From 5 to 8 at Spaceview Park. That's a Saturday, and this is a beautiful thing that the city brought to our museum to do for an awareness of dark skies, limiting the amount of light pollution in our community, and having a fun time at our beloved Spaceview Park. The next auction is this Saturday. All right, October 25th, noon to 5 p.m., the final gavel will fall on 350 lots of space history. You may bid now on anything, and if you think you're going to go $200, maybe on one of those beautiful contractor models here, and that's all. If it goes for 175 is the bid, the highest bid, nobody goes to 200, you get it for 175. Or if somebody does go to 175, it'll automatically push you up to 200. But you want to be there live for your own bids if you get paid again, so maybe you go an extra $50. So all kinds of cool things, including Buzz Aldrin's autograph on what we call the visor shot there, and space flown items galore. Well, we've got a happy birthday today to an astronaut you all should know pretty well. There he is, Doug Hurley, nicknamed Chunks, is 59 years old today, born October 21st, 1966, in Endicott, New York, but he spent his childhood in Appalachian, New York. He is married to NASA astronaut Karen Nyberg, a U.S. Marine, URA. That's why his nameplate is red with gold there. That is the Marine giveaway. Pilot on shuttle missions STS-27 in July 2009 and STS-135, the last shuttle launch, of course, of Atlantis in 2011. Here he is as he rode he did the dramatic Demo 2 test flight with Bob Behnken in 2020 of the first crewed SpaceX Dragon spacecraft. And wanted to, let's see, great guy, okay. There he is in space with yesterday's birthday girl, Julie Payette. They were a birthday apart. This mission was in July of 2009, I think. But yeah, STS-27 is they were crewmates on that. So maybe they shared that, hey, you got a birthday coming up, and so do I, the day before the day after you. So, and thank you all for the wonderful comments on Julie and the shares of her birthday on our Facebook page, over 30 shares. And I just got to say this, Marty, people are really um, I don't want to use any bad words, but we had people saying bad things about Julie, who Payette, who was the Governor General of Canada, kind of controversial, and taking her to task on her birthday and saying hateful things that we had to block. We blocked a few people and hid a bunch of comments, just like the birthday of Mae Jemison, the first African American in space. People made some very racist remarks on our Facebook page. Incredible that we haven't gotten past that, particularly in public, Marty. And we definitely blocked about 5 people whose remarks were racist towards Mae Jemison, the African Americans. And I just want to say, grow up out there, okay? None of my Stay Curious watchers have that kind of ilk on there, but I'm pointing it out to you that some people do. I know many of you aren't Facebookers, but we have to police every post we put up there, not just for the people that say the earth is flat, all right, or that we didn't go to the moon, but for disparaging and often racist remarks towards some of our astronauts up there. And Julie got quite a lot of them as a white lady up there for some of her reported things that happened when she was the Governor General of Canada, in charge of Queen Elizabeth's resolve at that time of as they're under the monarchy in some ways Canada is of England. So just wanted to point that out, that it's sad that we have to block and hide comments from people that don't want to be civil to each other. And that's why we promote space, the most civil thing out there. Uh, Colorblind men, women, any color, they are earthlings orbiting the earth. Our only home, a planet orbiting a star, and the only border that matters should be that thin blue line that keeps us all alive. Well, one happy comment about Doug Hurley involves why this picture was made. My Doug Hurley story with the great Jack Lousma is this. I drove Jack Lousma to Zarella's for an evening dinner there with some people that were going to meet Jack there. He was the astronaut of the day at Kennedy Space Center, and there was some flight going on. I forget which crewed mission it was. This was probably now 2 years ago. All right, might be 3 years ago, but 2 years ago. And I'm sitting next to Jack, who's eating the delicious lasagna at Zarella's, and a woman comes over and says to me, she goes, "Are you with Mr. Lousman?" She says, "Yeah." I'm just, yeah, kinda. I'm his driver. And she said, "Well, can I ask him something?" Well, of course you can, Jack. I don't. What's your name? But my name's, whatever. And I go, okay. Yeah, hey Jack, somebody wants to ask you a question. And this woman said, "Doug Hurley wants to meet you. He's in the other room. Do you have time to meet Doug Hurley? And do you know that he was on the first Crew Dragon?" And Jack says, "Oh yeah, I know who he is. Of course, come on over there." And I'm in the middle of an astronaut asking an astronaut legend if he's got time to come over there and pose for a picture. All right. Beautiful, just beautiful. And that's the picture we took. And Hurley was so tentative to talk to Jack. It's just sort of like, it's fun to be a fly on the wall, Marty, and like you are many times, and see the interaction of people. You got any comment about that? If you've met Jack a bunch and so forth, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That astronauts are just regular people and they get butterflies and giddiness when they're around some of their heroes. And you could tell Hurley was thrilled to meet Jack Lousma. And I'm kind of like, wait a minute, I've met this guy 3 or 4 times now. I guess I better be a little more pay attention to who he is. Of course, I know who he is, but uh, yeah, Marty knows what I'm talking about there. So thank you. But great little story that I've got, and there's a beautiful picture of them. And we're trying to effort Jack Lousma to Shuttlefest 5. I'll just drop the hint on that. We are trying to get him here, and he's 89 years old. And very good health. Uh, so we'll see if we can get him here. Who is orbiting Earth? All right. Who are you orbiting Earth? I think it's always good to visit this as a permanent segment of Stay Curious. Hope you do too, because orbiting the Earth is what separates an astronaut from the cosmonauts that didn't orbit the Earth, that are suborbital. And there's 636 humans who've orbited the Earth in all eternity, as the late NASA voice Hugh Harris used to say on this program. And we certainly do miss Hugh, who made it to age 91 years old. Let me bring up my YouTube channel there, Marty, and see what beautiful people are watching us today. So who's orbiting Earth? Let's see what's up there orbiting Earth as we look up on the underside of the International Space Station and see that we have we've got 6 spacecraft docked to the International Space Station. Okay, we've got Roscosmos with their Progress 92 and 93, and their Soyuz MS-27 crewed spacecraft there. What's going on here? There it's working. Then we've got Cygnus 23, which is a Grumman built cargo ship. Okay. Then we've got the Crew Dragon 11, all right, built by SpaceX. And then the cargo ship, which is a 33rd one sent up there. The first one you can see at Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex in the Gateway building. So we've got 2 crewed ships and 1, 2, 3, 4 cargo ships there. Now, I have got an app that I really enjoy called Next Space Flight. Maybe you use that for your app on there. And it tells me that the next launch we're going to have here on the Space Coast is Wednesday at 21:30. So what is that, Marty? Military time. 10?
21:30 is 9:30.
Not 9:30 on Wednesday, tomorrow night. That'll be a nice one. Maybe I'll go do a streak shot like that. Spain Sat, New Generation 2, launched on a Falcon 9. And it gives you some good updates on stuff. There's my, finally came up there. That stuff's coming up slow. So what's going to happen is we're going to start losing some of these spacecraft and adding more. The cargo ship 33 is due to come back in sometime in December. All right. And Progress 92, I thought was already scheduled to come back to Earth this week. Maybe it is, but they're putting all the used equipment and stuff in there. And garbage because it burns up in the atmosphere. Now the Crew Dragon, Cargo Dragon comes back except for the trunk of it, but the Progress burn up. So not sure how many times this Dragon's been reused. I think people kind of lose track of that on there. But let's see who's watching today to see who is on. Who's orbiting Earth. We've got Rosalie Jubilee, Mitch Rothman at Manned Space, Gary Gerald, Mark Thel. All right. Carlton Bailey. We've got Terry Green. Hello, Terry. Yvette. Dave Stangy's watching. And Helene is watching. Hello, Helene. She enjoyed our telescopes at the Brevard Astronomical, not astrological, astrology's comic books. There, you know that, Helene. And and let's see. Got Tommy Usiak watching, Thomas Celentano, Cliff Watson down in Pomona, Australia. Good to see you, mate. And everybody's saying hi to Cliff. Dougie Forrest, Freeway of others watching. And so, and there's Steve Jokums up there at Lake County Spaceport. So let's see who is orbiting Earth.
You missed Dean Babcock.
All right, Dean Babcock, don't want to leave him out. All right. 10 humans orbiting Earth at this very moment. 10 Earthlings off the Earth, surviving, living, doing science, being in awe of our planet, and then coming back and sharing that experience over and over again. 638 humans have orbited the Earth. All right, I was saying 636. All right, 638. 84 are women. Actually, it's 83. I did amend that. I went back and checked it, and I didn't change this meme here. All since 1961. There they are. We've got 3 on the Tiangong space station. Okay. And we've got 7 on the International Space Station. What is represented are 4 countries: China, Russia, America, and Japan. On Tiangong, which you see there, is a lot smaller than the. This is not the scale, the picture there. Tiangong is a little bit bigger than the Mir space station. It's basically 3 school buses put together, where the International Space Station, we have equivalent of about 7 or 8 school buses put together on there. And so we have up there Chendong, Chen Zhangru, and Wang Zhu. All right, up there. Now you've got 2 rookies, Chen and Wang, and the guy over my head here, Chen Dong. He has been up in space before. He is pushing 396 days in space total on his second space mission. Now, the Chinese, this whole mission has been up there for 6 months, 180 days. All right. Well, how long are they going to stay up there? When are they coming back? Glad you asked there, Dave Stange. Shenzhou 21, which means in Chinese divine boat. That's what Shenzhou means. Divine boat number 21 is planned to launch on Halloween, October 31st. It will carry 3 tachionauts. They call their astronauts tachionauts, Taiko, tachionauts. Launching October 31st. That's in China, so it's really November 1st here, I would think. They'll keep those 6 up there on the Heavenly Palace, Tiangong Space Station, for about a week or so to get for the handoff. And then these 3 will come back probably by November 7th to 10th is what I would guess up there. So they'll have, we'll briefly have 13 people up there. And add to that number. So they have not announced the crew, even though it's just a couple weeks away. So we don't know. Of course, a communist country, they want to keep you baffled. So we don't know if a woman's going to be involved, but they have had women on the last 2 crews going up there. And in fact, there's 4 Chinese women in the queue. 3 of them have been to space twice already. So I don't know if it'll all be men or women up there. And it's planned for 6 months up there. So they will swap out here first week of October or November, I mean. The next longest crew up there is Soyuz MS-27. Okay. And this has aboard it Johnny Kim. There you see he spells his name Jonny Kim, NASA astronaut. He is a rookie, and they have been in space 196 days. Over 6 months, Marty. Okay, pushing 7 months in space. They extended their mission just a little bit longer because of the duration overlap that we had when they had Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams up there. Instead of 8 days, we're up there 8 months. Everybody stopped talking about that, didn't they? Johnny Kim is 41 years old. He's a Harvard graduate. Been up in space almost 7 months from Los Angeles, California is where he was born. And he's married and has 3 kids. Okay, 3 children. So at age 41, those kids are, maybe he's got a teenager in there. It never tells you that stuff. Sergey and Alexei there, they're have been in space with Kim, all 197 days, of course. Alexei on the right, he's a rookie. Sergey in the middle, he's been in space now. This is his third trip to space. He's been up there 554 days. All right. With talk of the space station coming down in 2030, you kind of wonder where they're going to be going in the future. What's China, what's Russia going to do with their Soyuz astronauts? What America going to do with our astronauts? I don't know. We'll find out. Stay curious, right? Well, this crew's going to be up there until when is it? November. No earlier than 27th of November. So they're going to be up there another 6 weeks. This will be one of the longest Soyuz missions up there. 6 more weeks. That's going to push it into the 8th month. Wow. And these spacecraft attached there, their lifeboat home have a shelf life up in space because of the radiation that's hitting them. Just all kinds of things going on, the hot and the cold, every orbit. So, yep, this is testing a lot of systems, I would say. And going back up will be 2 Russians, believe it or not, both named Sergey, okay. We're going to have a commander having his second flight, a flight engineer on his first, and then we're going to have a rookie American, Christopher Williams, will be part of Expedition 7374 as the flight engineer. Christopher Williams, a NASA astronaut, a rookie, and he will be going up right at the end of November is when they're scheduled to launch, no earlier than the 27th of November. And I got to look at my calendar here. I keep forgetting when Thanksgiving is. Of course, it's always on a Thursday. And yeah, the 27th is a Thanksgiving Thursday. That's what I was thinking. So that'd be fun to watch football and a rocket launch from Kazakhstan. Okay. So that's how they're laying out. So then they're gonna have a new crew up there. But this is the crew that will be up there and meet the MS-28 Soyuz 28 crew. And that are these astronauts who were launched August 1st. We saw them right here at the Space Center go up. Zena Cardman, a rookie commander. This is now their 82nd day in space they're working on. So you can see Oleg, the Russian on the right, and Zena are rookies because they've got 82 days in space. Kim Ya-yu, the Japanese astronaut, he's on his second trip to space, 222 days under his belt. But we want to talk about Michael Fink there, his 4th trip. He is 58 years old. Well, let's get to Zena there. Zena is 37. She's single. Urbana, Illinois native there, you Illinois people that are watching today. And University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is where she got one of her degrees there. So I wanted to let you know about her. As I'm looking at, let's see, Dean Babcock says he met Zena Cardman's aunt and uncle a couple weeks ago. Amazing who you can meet at any time. That's probably an interesting conversation. And we've got, we wanted to say Dean Babcock, they stopped talking about the Boeing Starliner. What's up with that? And Dean Babcock goes, he's wondering the same. I don't know. How's your Boeing stock working for you out there? I'm not a stock market person, but the Boeing Starliner, you're right. They're not talking about it, which is not good. I think the NASA legends who I talk to say it's a one and done. Marty, are you hearing anything or seen any news that I haven't about Starliner preparing for another flight or anything?
No, I've heard nothing. It does seem kind of strange to me also.
And the Starliner's been in development for about as long as the Orion, about 10 years probably. And that's a lot of government money that's been pushed there, and a lot of Boeing money paying a lot of engineers for one flight that they should have never launched. No doubt about it. We're thank God that those astronauts made it up there safely. Okay, Spanky is Michael Fink's nickname. He's 58 years old, so he's the oldest person in space. That's sometimes like me. I looked around the room and at a couple meetings today, and yep, I'm the oldest person in the room. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania product is Michael Fink. Hope they celebrate him well. They're in Steeler country. Boy, what a brainiac, too. MIT and Stanford, just to back it up, with some education. He has 3 children, happily married, 3 kids, and 9 extravehicular activities under his belt. I think he's one of the rare space travelers that's been on a shuttle. He's been on a Soyuz spacecraft, and he's been on the Crew Dragon. So can't get any better than that. So Michael Fink, nicknamed Spanky, up there for the first time in 12 years. He waited to go to space again. You're like 45 years old, just got done with your third space flight, and you're thinking, man, I can't wait to go again. And then he waits 12 years for that. So very good. That's who's in space. 10 humans orbiting Earth. Thank you for letting me keep track of them for you all up there. And yeah, Steve Jokum thinks that we should get a big refund on that Boeing contract. Yep, don't hold your breath on that. But again, I don't know what kind of technology was spun off of it that we didn't know about. One thing you learn about the Russian Soyuz spacecraft that's been operating for over 40 years, Marty, is they just don't change much just to keep up with the times. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, is the Russian philosophy. We clearly have heard that from astronaut Mike Baker, who worked for 3 years as the director of operations in Russia with Roscosmos, putting Americans on Russian spaceships. He says that the Russia, if it fits and don't get in the way and is the same weight limit or whatever, they're not going to make their switches and buttons on a Soyuz turn into a glass cockpit like we had to do to all of the orbiters of the shuttle. Then he said, Mike Baker has also shared that in between that of never changing anything if it don't, if it's working fine that the Russians do, to America changing everything, European is somewhere in the middle there. All right, they don't want to change some reliable systems, and of course keep up to date with the navigation and other things like that probably. So, all right. Well, I always enjoy talking about the astronauts and making them human for you all up there. So let's talk about something that's up in the sky that you're not going to see, but you're going to think you're going to miss out seeing it because of media, and that is comets. There's actually 3 comets in our sky right now. The much celebrated interstellar comet that has come from another solar system, from another star far, far away, is just crashing through our solar system at 200,000 miles an hour, the fastest object to whip through our solar system ever. And then there's this comet called Lemon Comet. Oh, I forgot to print that out, doggone it. Yeah, so I'm not going to credit who did these pictures, unfortunately. This is a picture taken by a professional amateur I think it was in Australia, Cliffy. And this is a beautiful comet called Lemon. And comets are dirty snowballs that are hollow to some extent. They're light. They're made up of ice and rock. and they are the leftovers of the beginning of our solar system, we think. So when we've got one coming through, the third one to go through our solar system from another solar system, we're studying it quite close. Well, this is actually the tail of the comet is caused by the sun's energy and light and heat radiating across the solar system and melting this dirty snowball. And the comet tail of debris and comet tail of gases are two distinct tails here. The long one is the gases, and it's disconnecting, as you can see by that knot in it, something that happened the other day as amateurs were watching it. A big solar storm reached it and just kind of burped some of the gas away from it there. This comet Lemon is probably 5 miles in diameter. It has the coma around it. Coma is hair in Latin, and that is it was thought to be a hairy star when seen in the night sky by the ancient astronomers. So beautiful picture, kind of greenish. And Comet Lemon will be visible tonight, an opportunity. It's right up there. Marty, why don't you do your number there to show you a beautiful backdrop. And while he's getting that going, this is what Comet Lemon is right now. No, this is the interstellar comet. Okay, interstellar Atlas. The comet's right above my head up there. Right here. This is the comet. Man, I can't point my finger. Right there.
Go to the larger screen, I'll point it out.
Right there. Yep. Yep. If you put the arrow up there to let people know. So you go out tonight, clear nice horizon like you see here, and it'll probably be a little bit lower. And this is fourth magnitude, which is third magnitude is about this is 2.5 times fainter than third magnitude. That you'll see a lot of third magnitude stars in your backyard, so you need to go somewhere after sunset. This got a western view. Pan with binoculars, okay? And an easy way to find it is see the Big Dipper will be low to the horizon, looking north. You look at the handle of the dipper and follow the handle of the dipper, and the bright star Arcturus in Bootes right there is very, very bright. Be close to the horizon, and I'm going to look for Mount Lemon up there. So the best time is going to be about 35 to 50 minutes after sunset, and then keep panning and watching. And after about an hour and a half after sunset, it'll probably be too below the horizon. Here's another. Oh, okay. I didn't have another picture of Lemon. I thought I stuck one in there. I guess I didn't. All right, go ahead, Marty. Yes.
Dean Babcock is asking, when will Comet Kohoutek be near Earth again, if at all?
Kohoutek?
Yeah.
Kohoutek will be near the Earth again, Dean, in about 35,000 years. Okay? So, wait up for that. It was a comet that was a periodic comets, or ones that they only go out maybe past Pluto and then do a U-turn. Well, Kohoutek is one that does a big elliptical orbit, and it goes way out to over 10,000 years one way and 10,000 years the next way type of thing. So it's going to be a long, long time. That's why comets are exciting. That's why in my lifetime of waiting for that huge, gigantic, big comet that has never come yet in my lifetime, we've had a couple real good ones, but nothing like Halley's Comet in 1910 that was just like this much of the sky, like 50 degrees of the sky. 45 degrees is from horizon to halfway up. And we've not had many that the tail is longer than 5 degrees. And that is your piece, your Scout's honor held at arm's length. But I'll show you. Hale Bop was a pretty good one here at the end. But good question, Dean. Well, this comet, there's go out and try to see Comet Lemon. That's with 2 M's in it. There's the star chart again. Comet Lemon's red. Find the Big Dipper. It's low to the horizon, but you up north will see it better than we will. You see the Little Dipper and the North Star there. So you find the Big Dipper easily, scraping like a plow. That's why it's called the plow in Europe, scraping the bottom of the horizon there. Now, this is the interstellar comet called 3I/Atlas. Atlas is the telescope group that discovered it, and it has got a tail on it. It has some characteristics that solar system, sun solar system comets don't have. It seems to have a lot more heavier elements. Wherever it was formed is a little bit different combination of chemicals that formed our own solar system. And that could have a lot of repercussions for life in other solar systems, as well as new elements being discovered. But this is what it looks like through a big professional telescope. It is just now about to go behind the sun. Now, what is very interesting is this is kind of a hard chart to understand in some ways, but the comet is actually the Earth is on the complete opposite side of the sun from this comet. All right, so it's not looking very big at all to anybody on Earth or Earth telescopes, including the Hubble and the Webb. And when it went by Mars, I thought we'd see a nice big tail, but it was still, like 50 million miles away from Mars. Mars right now is 200 million miles away from Earth. We're on the opposite sides of the sun from Mars there. So it's whizzing by, deceiving. It's not going that close to Jupiter, but it's going sort of close to Jupiter as it heads out of the solar system into interstellar space to encounter maybe another solar system from a star far, far away. Do not believe anything about the hype that this is a alien spacecraft and has aliens on it. And this is just such preposterous, aggravating to the science-minded people like myself out there and you. You can tell this is AI generated because they misspelled interstellar over here. They misspelled Jupiter over there. Completely, this is comic book, and in my opinion only, not the museums, is when I see things on Facebook, this is fear-mongering and telling people just absolute lies. So investors on alert, new discovery, rare data captured, once-in-a-lifetime event. Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. That's about the only thing you can believe up there. It is an interstellar mystery as where it came from and what's it made of. This is another professional telescope photo from some of the largest observatories in the world, showing the greenish glow, the tail. The other two interstellar objects that crashed through our solar system were only 2 to 5 miles in diameter. Only like 2,000 feet in diameter, a half a mile and under a mile. This is pretty big object. They think it's 5 miles in diameter. The coma, when things heat up, hide the actual size of the object in there. And the Webb telescope, taking very scientific data. That's why I'm showing you this. This is not an alien spacecraft. This has all of the characteristics of a comet here in our solar system with some peculiar unknowns of its composition that is unlike things that have formed in our solar system. And there will be a couple people make a doctorate thesis over that and understand, but 3 times now in the last 5 years we've discovered objects from other solar systems, Marty, reaching our solar system. What's going on? Well, it's just science has gotten better. We have more telescopes scanning for these things. That's what there's not more of them. We've certainly had intruders like this over thousands of millions of years We've been in existence as the Earth for about 4 billion years. So there's been other intruders that our star pulls in by gravity. It's just now we have the capability with science to telescopes and other data processing to find them. But this is the Webb telescope looking at it here. I want to just let you know that we do know what comets look up close. This is a comet that's got two elaborate Garianmo, uh, very difficult name to pronounce. This is about 2 miles across. It has two lobes to it, this comet that was active, all right, when the spacecraft, European spacecraft Rosetta, I believe, took these pictures. I could be corrected on that. I'd left my notes in the computer and didn't print them out. But this is two objects that obviously slowly clumped together. Okay. How long ago? We don't know. But you see the outgassing and debris coming off this comet as it got close to the sun. And then this picture was taken when it further away from the sun, when the outgassing stopped. But you can see just the structure on it as where debris's been kind of burned off of it, if you will, or evaporated away in other areas where it hasn't. I make a comet as a presentation for STEAM. I've been doing it for a long time out of dry ice and water to prove that comets may have brought our world all of the water on our planet, as well as the water on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn that we see. So a lot of fun doing this, and a lot of fun showing kids making a comet out of dry ice, okay? And I love doing that. I've done it for years. I throw coal in there. Look, I threw some minerals in there that are green, some green sand to show a comet's made up of all different things, elements of life, from H2O, carbon, minerals, and lots and lots of water. Yes, Marty.
Yeah, Archie Jubilee is asking, did a comet crash into Israel?
Well, I'm not going to say where comets crash. Comets would not be seen crashing because they wouldn't make it to the Earth. They're so small they wouldn't make it to the surface. They get burned up or blow up. Maybe a comet has been responsible for the great impact in the early 1900s at Tunguska that leveled millions of miles of forest. But a comet or meteor can go any surface of the Earth at any time. However, the meteors are drawn by the metallic in them to the poles. Comets could just be random. But a comet over any country would quickly evaporate by the Earth's atmosphere and the speed it's going. All right. Cliff is saying that the Vero Rubin Observatory will find far more comets and asteroids as it already has. Yes, that's a major new observatory that's being put together there. So, and Dean, thank you. So I stay curious. He says his astronomy source. So we have visited every one of these comets or asteroids. Asteroids are different than comets that they don't have a lot of water. And that's about the only difference. Asteroids are rocky bodies. Some of them have been blown apart by impacts and made smaller. The one we were just looking at was down here, a very small one. You see there. Different sizes, everything from about a quarter mile to 30 miles here. This big asteroid there. So a lot of good science left to understand these strangers of our solar system that are very plentiful. Thousands of asteroids in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Then you've got millions of cometary material in the Kuiper belt and beyond in the Oort cloud. Yes, sir, Marty.
Yeah, Mark Dell is asking, what about the comet that will pass between the Earth and the Moon?
There are those comets that do that once in a while. Those are called near Earth asteroids or comets. There are over 3,000 near Earth objects being monitored as we speak. You want to know more about this? I share it once in a while. My homepage, face website is spaceweather.com. Spaceweather.com shows you the number of sunspots on the sun right now, keeps up to date with the interplanetary things going on, and shares a lot of amateur photos around the world. And as you might be going out and looking for Comet Lemon tonight, take your camera on a tripod, put it on 2000 to 5000 ISO sensitivity, take a 30-second exposure, make sure your aperture or your lens opening is very wide open, like 5.6. So put it on f stop aperture, A or F at like your lowest aperture or widest open, and see what you get at 30-second exposure. Don't delete anything out in the field. Wait until you can see things up close and personal there. And get outside and see a little astronomy, stargazing, as the moon is 29 days old today. And though I didn't put the slide up there, that means it's new moon. It's up there right below the sun as we go out there and look. You can't see it because there's no sunlight illuminating the side facing the earth, though it's there. All right. And there'll be a thin crescent tomorrow night, a little bit less of a thin crescent on Thursday night. You'll be able to see it hanging up there like a beautiful fingernail. And now that Comet Lemon might be gone by tomorrow, all right, because it's moving quickly through the, or maybe tomorrow will be the last day to see it. Nobody knows for sure. But the blue band, this is an evening sky map that you can get for free. The blue band, of course, is the Milky Way, very prominent in our skies. Why can't I get my sky map for October right in my hand? There it is. This skymaps.com is very helpful, free download. We've got new moon is today, of course. The Orionid meteor shower peaks. This is so if you get up at 4 in the morning, you might see a lot of meteors, okay, that originate out of the constellation Orion. And the moon is going to be a crescent on the weekend, on Friday, near Antares, a bright red star. All right. And by the way, that interstellar comet is about magnitude 10 or 11, which the best you can see with the naked eye is 6, even in like an Arizona dark sky place there. So, all right, get outside, get your little starshine. I was given a stargaze at the wonderful Genesis Gala that you see. Our friend Helene is on there. We showed a lot of people with 2 telescopes, Saturn and some globular clusters and stuff, but I was pointing out the stars that make up the summer triangle. Yes, the summer triangle is very prominent right now in October. The Milky Way is prominent in October and November. When they talk about it being a summer thing to see, it's sort of after 11 o'clock at night is when, in the summertime, when the Milky Way is best. But nonetheless, is the picture I took last October out at Herky Huffman Park, looking towards Orlando. So you can get quite a beautiful scene of the Milky Way with your camera on a tripod and a 30-second exposure at a high ISO. Well, hope you've enjoyed that today. I'm going to bop out of here and go to the Moon Hut. I'm scheduled to be at the Moon Hut in an hour. Many of you have been to this legendary eatery that was reopened and closed a couple times this year. New entrepreneurs have taken it over. They have the sunrise breakfast in Cocoa Beach, and so it's reopened, and I'm going to be there to talk to a documentary about some of the memorabilia there. This is our friend Jim Lewis doing his documentary on Martin Caden, and this is the back room of the Moon Hut that has this legendary sign back there, and a lot of stuff on the walls of signed autographs by astronauts and so forth. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be scooting out of here. And when you make a visit, you definitely want to come and have breakfast and lunch at the Moon Hut at Cape Canaveral is where it's located, only about a mile south of the port. And to end talking about comets, this is a photo I took of a comet you all heard about, Hale-Bopp, in 1997. Hale-Bopp was indeed a beautiful comet. This is the debris tail, and the blue is the gas tail, that are two separate phenomenon of comets in there. And Hale-Bopp was about 5 miles, pretty big comet, visible to the naked eye, but wasn't real long. You could cover it with your fist at arm's length. Nonetheless, we're waiting for another beautiful comet like Hale-Bopp to come. So, and I might be waiting this long for the next bright comet to come, Marty. Who knows? So, thank you all for watching today and staying curious with us. Thank you, Marty, for a great Streamlabs job there today. We want to thank Steve Jokums for watching, Dave Stange, Freeway of Other watching, Doug Forrest, talented artist in Los Angeles, Dean Babcock, Cliff Watson down under, Tommy Usiak, Tom Celentano, Helene at the 41111, Terry Yvette Green, hello to you, Terry. And that's a female, by the way, Yvette. Carlton Bailey, Mark Thell, Gary Gerald, Mitch Rothman, and R.G. Jubilee. We'll do a quick show tomorrow and then have our friend Terry White, who's a male Terry, here to talk about the thermal protection system of the shuttle on Thursday, something that you all love. So thank you all for watching. Appreciate you supporting our American Space Museum all the way that you do. And until tomorrow, I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you in our museum to shake your hand and bridge the space between us.